There's that foundation flag guitar meet. It's a pencil. 22 private live. So be Network Rumble X YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in Newswire on Rumble. Of course, we'll join the Mighty Met KMAT as we usually do at the bottom of the hour. Lots of stuff going on. ChatGPT, the new drug. After school employee in Moreno Valley arrested for inappropriate contact with 4 students. Naked, a homeowner shoots a naked intruder. That story's coming up, and much, much more. But the lead story is firefighters injured after a fire, a massive explosion, as you see here in New York, as we're hopefully running through that. It was a devastating fire and explosion that went on there. Just firefighters were injured, wiped out a bunch of cars. It was an absolutely horrendous situation over there, but we hope we'll get an update on that. Again, that was in the Bronx in New York, but it was definitely a devastating situation that went on there. We have the video finally, I think, of the explosion. Hopefully, here we go. There it is. There you got it.
A big explosion rocks a neighborhood in the Bronx tonight, injuring 7 New York City firefighters. Crews responding to multiple reports of a trash fire that spread to several vehicles when that blast erupted. The explosion stunned the firefighters, 5 of whom suffered severe burns to their faces and hands. The fireball destroyed several vehicles with flaming debris spread across the area. The FDNY's Hazardous Materials Unit now on the scene to investigate the cause of that explosion. Firefighters suffered serious but thankfully non-life-threatening injuries.
Makes you wonder what incarnations was in that trash there that exploded like that. That was no, let's say, easy, or somebody had some pretty high performance stuff in there. Let's just put it that way. Of that to explode like that, holy bleeping cow. Studio City landlord shoots and kills naked intruder who broke the landlord's or the shooter's leg. Man, this is a bizarre story if there ever was one. Get to the ABC7 report here in a second. Here we go.
City this morning, at least one person is dead following a shooting at an apartment complex.
A landlord shot a naked intruder protecting his tenants. With the very latest on the investigation, Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda joining us live from the scene. Carlos.
Well, that's right. Police say this started as a burglary and ended in a shooting, and they're still trying to figure out the reason why this suspect was naked. They do believe that that could have been drug related, but again, that is now part of the investigation.
No kidding. No kidding. That part is drug related, yes. Here's more of the pertinent facts of the case. The poor elderly man, 79, got his legs broken by the naked intruder, and we can imagine how this story is going to turn out. Here we go.
2 more times.
The suspect approaches the male 79-year-old and body slams him on the ground. The neighbor, who's 79 years old, subsequently suffered 2 broken legs. The neighbor at this time, in self-defense, shoots the suspect 3 times.
Now, that neighbor, the 79-year-old man, was taken to the hospital. There's no word on his condition. There's also a report that before this happened, there was a man exposing himself at Walter Reed Middle School, which is just a few blocks away, and police are trying to figure out
how much you want to bet this naked intruder winds up being a vagrant. I mean, we don't know at this point, but it doesn't take too much to draw the parallels on that. Look at the one down in Menifee, where the man got stabbed. Now, transient, they call them. When are we going to call this as it is? Vagrant from up north comes down, stabs the man, kills him in Marietta or in Menifee, and then on top of that, stabs his wife. Fortunately for her, she's still alive. Stuff is incredible, to say the least. We'll get into this one here in a sec. But this is from the New York Times Magazine, a big study article, and MIT, which I want to focus on a little bit more because the New York Times stuff is bizarre. They fell in love with AI chatbots and found something real. As we say, this whole 3x5 screen chatbot stuff is the new drug. We'll get into that story here in a bit. Orange County supervisors approve anti-camping ordinance allowing arrest of homeless. Again, when are we going to say vagrant? Here's the ABC7 report. Here we
The
go.
supervisors has approved a more aggressive response to when it comes to approaching homeless encampments. The new policy was approved yesterday in a 4-1 vote. Police can now arrest and fine unhoused individuals for camping along flood control channels in county parks or in other county-owned land. Now, this follows a Supreme Court ruling from last year that lifted a previous ban on arresting people.
Don't let them tell you in any sort of circumstances. Do not let your hate Channel 7. They never, you shut them off and their video restarts itself. It's crazy. But anyway, don't let your public officials, whatever, to give you the runaround. Get the vagrants out. You have the tools to do it. Quit screwing around. Another one that came up on the radar screen, Sydney Sweeney and the whole jeans thing of that. And of course we had the the emotional, this tug. The Sweeney chick seems to have a fairly level head on her shoulders and is not letting people intimidate her in the least. Bravo for her. We'll get it. Hopefully we'll get into that part of the story here in a bit. You want to know why Ma'am Damney won? This guy has a really good clue as to why. Here we go.
Zohran Mamdani knows how to talk to young, moderate, and liberal women. Trump terrifies them.
That's all you need to know right there. A lot of dynamics are going on with this stuff, and everybody's drawing a lot of harebrained conclusions about how the vote went. We'll break it down with some solid numbers on that. I will say this. Donald J. maybe this was a wake-up call for him. He's finally getting back, maybe starting to get back on the bearings that got him elected. He's asking the DOJ to immediately begin an investigation to meat packing companies who are driving the price of beef through illicit collusion, price fixing, and price manipulation. We will always protect our American ranchers, and they are being blamed for what is being done by a majority of foreign-owned meat packers. This is, instead of making a deal with Argentina beef and all that, which is not necessarily a bad deal, but get back to this. This is what the people want, especially the young people. They want to see this stuff corrected in no uncertain terms. And just like the gentleman had, we'll hopefully tie all this together on this Faster Than You Friday. Multiple suspects arrested in a $900,000 retail theft bust operation in SoCal. It was mainly at the Home Depot. They cooperated with law enforcement because they were getting hit extremely hard. And this stuff just jacks the price of everything up for us. You got to pay for the products that these cats are stealing. That's the bottom line. You, the end consumer, pay for everything, the taxes, the theft, the vagrants walking out of the stores with their shopping carts, and the whole freaking 9 yards. Wild foot car and foot pursuit spins out of control. Out of control in Upland, that sleepy little town over there. Say it ain't so. Here's the video tape. You see that? You see him go through, blasting through the parking lot. There's the cops chasing them, chasing him down. He takes his SUV. Looks like I don't know if he hits the cop car or the cop car hits him. They eventually get the guy stopped. He bails. The cops roll down, and the foot pursuit arrives. He's trucking. Hopefully, the cops right on his tail. More of it. There they have him cornered with the pistole of that out there. They finally get him to submit. So great job. That is wild. And again, however you want to say it, and this guy, I'm going to say now, this cop knew how to drive. He knew how to pin the guy in with his car and stop the pursuit, which was highly dangerous. We need more cops trained on how to take care of these pursuits. Now, have a little update on the corrupt mayor of Moreno Valley, who has cost taxpayers $2 million. $2 million. Breaking news update on corrupt mayor Ulysses Baby Jesus Cabrera. He has cost Moreno Valley taxpayers $2 million. It's been confirmed by Steve Quintanilla just here a few moments ago by email on that. We will have links in the bottom to the original story on IEN that broke this morning. But again, Baby Jesus cost Moreno Valley taxpayers $2 million. That's why we at IE Newswire and a few others are on these guys like white on rice. $2 million. I want to know all the supporters, especially the cheerleaders of Mayor Ulysses Baby Jesus Cabrera. And all of you that want this, that, and the other, I don't want to hear you complaining because he just flushed $2 million of your taxpayer dollars. You give him right down the frickin' toilet. I don't know how we can take much more of this. We need to get Dick Dastardly over there and have him have a talk with little Sonny Boy over there, the Baby Jesus mayor of Moreno Valley, Ulysses Cabrera. He needs to resign. He needs to resign now. We can't, Moreno Valley will never move forward as long as you have the Ulysses Cabreras up there screwing the city into the ground. We'll get into this and much, much more on this Faster Than You Friday. Yes, we will. It's uncanny, some of the things that just creep up on you without you even noticing it. Or maybe you're not aware of it, or you've seen somebody else roll into this stuff. But it just came out in the NYT. We can figure out how to work this thing. There we go. New York Times, they fell in love with AI chatbots and found something real. They found boyfriends, girlfriends. They're having sex with their AI chatbots over the phone. Married couples. Two married couples each have a chatbot. The man and the woman in this case, because you got to make that clear today, each have a boyfriend, friend, girlfriend as an AI chatbot. And it was the dude that started it. One guy, this is like, this would be like the guy that at the alcoholic rehab or making beer or wine or anything or that. He was part of the AI chatbot, saw it work, knew the dangers of it, knew to stay away from it, knew how it could suck you in, and he succumbed. He got into an AI chatbot and could not get away from it. Some of the bizarre sexual stuff, and again, we went through it. They're telling your kids to cut themselves. Yeah. Oh, you need advice on how to commit suicide and yada, yada, yada. No wonder. No wonder they want their breasts cut off or their Johnsons cut off. This stuff, as we say, is the new drug. You're looking at this all the time, and it is designed. It was started with the computers. This started, well, it started with ads. They started studying that as soon as the television era came in the 50s. They did commercials and they would run stuff and then they would put images in front of you and saw what you would pay attention to because they're trying to sell you a product or whatever, or political philosophy or whatever they're trying to manipulate you into. So, and this even the next big thing was the presidential debates between Richard M. Nixon and John F. Kennedy in 1960. And they knew and they confirmed a picture's worth 1,000 words. Because practically the vast majority of the people that watched the debate on television thought John Kennedy wiped the floor with Dick Nixon. And the reason why is you got young, fertile, with a hot young wife, John F. Kennedy, two young little kids, versus stodgy old Dick Nixon and Pat, and the elderly lady and Trish. And that's the image. They didn't hear in the 1960 debate when they watched on television, they looked at the camera and they saw the picture and they said, man, that Kennedy dude looks pretty sharp. Looks like, didn't know that he had bad back and was on drugs and this and that. Was actually in not that great a physical condition. Dick Nixon, even though he was probably 20 years older, was probably in better physical shape than Kennedy. But Kennedy had the look, and that's what drew people to John Kennedy. Those, which was still popular, more popular at the time, that listened to the debate on the radio, thought Dick Nixon won hands down. But they knew at that point it's not one of my sayings. Roy is a 101. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's how your appearance is, it's how your look. People look at how you are putting things together, the look. That's why you see when you see Gavin Newsom doing the wild hand gestures, he's distracting you from the lie he's telling you. He's like the magician. The magician's waving his left hand like this. Hey, look at this. While he's pulling the trick down here with his right hand, but you're not paying attention because you're looking at this is what's attracting your attention. Or he's pointing at the hot chick there, whatever, da 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 da, in the skimpy clothes, pulling this out. Yeah, oh yeah, look at that, da 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 da. While right over here, right in front of you, the illusion, the trick is going on in front of you, but you're not seeing it because you're looking at the shiny object. And that's what they've done. This is a reality. You want to know why you get all the chaos, or the schools and kids are wanting to cut off completely useful, functioning body parts? You want to know why there's angst in the community? You want to know why it was able to George Floyd riots and burning down and this with the immigration and all the fights are? It's because they have got most people to the point where they are so addicted to that. And then, like they were saying, oh man, my chatbot GTP girlfriend or wife or husband or whatever, they're always around. They never talk back. They are always encouraging me. That positive, always positive reinforcement. Well, with the generation we brought up in the last 20, 30 years in the school system, what have we done? Oh, everything is okay. Oh, nothing bad's ever going to happen. Oh, if you fall off the swing set and get a boo-boo on your knee, well, we'll take out the swing set. Oh, you're going to lose at football or dodgeball, we'll take out dodge. Well, we'll just eliminate that. Or if you do, everybody wins. Everything is that. You can put on, if you put 2 plus 2, what's the answer? And you put, my kitty cat's black. Oh, you get an A. That's because you put down an answer. I've seen that at the crime syndicate. That's Moreno Valley Unified School District. We call them the Moreno Valley Unified Crime Syndicate. Because it's criminal what they've done to the kids. It's criminal what the vast majority of people in education have done to our kids. And now as they're coming into adults, well, they got hit with the real world. You can get, if you don't show up for work, you'll get fired. And then you won't get paid. Ooh, what the hell is this? So they go, when they're presented a non-reality world, what they've grown up with, going bleep, 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 bleep on the screen and boom, boom, boom and whatever, stimulating the sexual stuff that goes on with all the pedophilia that goes on in those, whatever they are, and in Disney and everything else, the sexualization of kids. How would you not know? Or how would you not think it's possible that we would come to this? It's a matter of I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of time. Maybe we will turn it around. I mean, we kind of did that with Trump a little bit, but they're backsliding in some avenues. And even more, if you don't think, well, New York Times and I don't know. Here's the study. Let's see if Let's see if it will. There we go. Finally get. Boy, I'm having fun today. Americans are falling in love with their AI chatbots. MIT study finds what's driving the modern romance. Americans are increasingly forming emotional bonds with AI chatbots, finding consistent support and reduced loneliness, according to the new MIT study. These relationships often starting incidentally after offer a safe space for users to express themselves. If that doesn't make your head spin, that's making them more lonely. You're getting rid of physical human interaction. That's making them more lonely. They turn to that because they can't handle the real world. They can't handle somebody rejection or telling them no or this or that or just something bad happens. They want to and they revert to the environment they were brought up in. It's uncanny, quoting from the MIT article study. Romantic relationship with artificial intelligence are no longer an abstract idea or science fiction fantasy once depicted in films like Her, where a man falls in love with an AI voice assistant, and Blade Runner, the 2049, where the protagonist shares intimacy with a holographic companion. The concept has now moved into everyday life. Today, the story has shifted from the cinematic screen fiction to phone and laptop screen reality as people begin to form real emotional bonds with AI. They're forming emotional bonds with an inanimate object. That should scare the holy hell out of everyone. It's, it's a no wonder kids, young adults, teenagers are not going out on dates or meeting their friends or just go out and hanging out at the bar. On Reddit, the community of my boyfriend's AI has grown to more than 85,000 members. People there talk about daily routines with their AI partners, from morning check-in to late night conversations. Some even recount moments of digital proposals and anniversaries. Their relationships rarely start with the intention of romance, but they wind up having sex with themselves looking at a screen, a 3x5 screen. And of course, it goes on, well, why? AI feels safe. This is a safety zone and nothing bad's going to happen. And we're always encouraging you. And it's always positive, never negative. No, hey, why don't you get off your ass and go out there and get a job? Why don't you get off the couch and talk to somebody? Many MIT study noted that many participants reported a lift in mood and a decrease in loneliness after performing these interactions. Well, it's phony. You're going to, as the studies have proven, we've had Dr. Jean Twenge with the kids and everything. They're more disconnected. They're more lonely. They're less emotionally developed and even intelligence and developed. That's why you see the grades going down, the student achievement. One of the AI romance question raises that society's not fully answered. What counts as real intimacy? Holy cow. What makes a relationship meaningful? And what happens when technology can meet emotional needs that people sometimes cannot? If this is what AI does, it will destroy. It will not improve our lives. It will make them much worse. But you can get to the stuff and people will gravitate to this. And like I say, it's the new drug. It tells you what you want. Now you don't have to smoke a joint, even though it's legal most places, or do cocaine or fentanyl. Or drink alcohol, to drown your sorrows because your boyfriend or girlfriend left you. And you just get on the AA chatbot and says, "Oh, you're wonderful, beautiful. Why don't you roll down your pants?" And that's what they're doing. They're trying to skirt it with these studies, but they know exactly what they're doing because they know if once they hook you in, just like the alcoholic or the drug addict or sex addict or whatever, once they've hooked you in, and they can do it so much. It's so much easier to do. You don't have to have a network of drug dealers and this and transportations. It's right there with you 24/7, 365. People can't get away from it. They sleep with the darn things. From when they wake up in the morning till they pass out falling asleep because they can't no longer, the body says I can't go anymore. It's terrifying at a level. And like anything else, we can use this stuff for good or bad. It can be good or evil. And we're probably at one of these crossroads with this AI technology and the whole cell phone electronics. And I'm saying right now, we're headed far on the 50% line that they're being far more worse in our lives than they're making it better. And we need to fix that. Because used properly, it could make all of our lives better. But used as an evil tool to make you an addict is
30 seconds, Roy.
will absolutely dwarf society, if not kill it off. I mean, I'm serious about that. We got to get a big handle on that, or the future is not great. The future is great if we use the technology.
Here we go, Roy. 10 seconds.
.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
My Guitar Music is from every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band, joining our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, do all that good stuff. On that, check out the first part of the show on the social media networks. Big explosion, trash explosion. Injured firefighters, wiped out some cars. The wild foot and car chase through Upland. And I will see this and I'll give the, so I get on the cop's case on these chases where they do that. That cop knew how to drive and knew how to use his vehicle to get the guy to stop because he was thoroughly dangerous. And who would have thought that would happen in the sleepy little town of Upland? But it did. That was a wild dude. Check that one out on the page. The home intruder or a vagrant, well, it appears to be. Naked man, let's put it that way. Let's scratch the vagrant. Naked man's assaulting women in a house. 79-year-old man walks up. He body slams him, breaks his leg. Fortunately, the dude, the old guy, had a firearm and put 3 shots into the naked man, and they're saying, well, possible drugs in this. I'm going to say odds are, like the deal in Menifee down there, where vagrant from NorCal stabs, kills one man, and severely injures his wife. And they say, well, homeless for that. No, they're vagrants. At least Orange County is starting to clean them out again. They're arresting vagrants. And any public property, you're out. And that's the way it should be. We covered the Sydney Sweeney part a little bit. Well, maybe we'll get to that video here in a second. But the whole flop of that, and again, the emotional stuff they try to run on this stuff is absolutely incredible. Let's get to that right now as we go. So, you had the whole jeans thing and the white supremacists and all that flipping noise they tried to pull off. So, some other chick's interviewing Sydney Sweeney. She's doing a movie shoot or something or other. And it was a fairly long interview, and they're going through, but it's probably worth watching the whole thing. But I will say this about Sydney Sweeney, and she was at the championship NASCAR race last weekend. MAGA supporter. And that's probably why she's getting the treatment. But I think she handled this about as well as you could for anyone.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that
specifically criticism, whenever you hear a lady going the criticism, whenever you hear that long at the end, they're trying to shame you. Oh, you're a white supremacist and that, and you're saying white superiority and all that. Sometimes the best counters are short and sweet. Here's Sydney Sweeney's reply.
When I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
Yeah. If I want to talk about it, you will hear about it. End of story. And I'm going to tell you the way I think. She said she went later on, I'm not backing up from it. It's the way it is. That's the reality of the situation. Deal with it. She didn't exactly say it like that. She said it much nicer than I do. But at least we have a young lady there who gets it. and who isn't going to back down and isn't going to be shamed for telling the truth. You know what? And when we went through the AI chatbot and the dangers of that in the first half hour and all that, and we went through the manipulative, how in the modern area in the last 70 years, how they've used these electronic tools to manipulate you. Yeah, they figured out, you know what? Two things, both men and women respond to sexy young chicks in ads. Men, because they think, well, yeah, I'd love to hit that. Because we're the retarded half of the population, we think very simply. Women think, well, if I buy the clothes, if I buy the jeans Sydney, it has nothing to do with race or white superiority. If I buy the jeans that Sydney Sweeney's wearing, maybe I'll look hot too. Or if I wear the lipstick, or I do the hairdo like that, or that, I will. That's so. It's obvious. Well, for most people, why men would follow hot-looking young chicks. And of course, it's more complicated, but it's still really the same thing. It's about the look. Women want to look like that because they're going to be attractive to males. Males are attracted like that because, yeah, we want to hit a hot chick. So they figured that out years and years and years ago, and they're using that to manipulate you in all sorts of ways. So good job, Sydney Sweeney. I'm not backing up. Gives me a little bit of hope that we'll be able to climb out of some of this stuff. This guy was on it pretty good. And, the whole Zoran Mondani mayor, but really it was a broader deal. And I think as hopefully he's getting his bearings back, he's back on, hey, we got to clean up the meat industry here in that and get all this out. And what he's saying is, yeah, let's get the illegals out of the meat packing industry and everywhere else. And maybe, yeah, what he needs to tell them is, yeah, we get rid of the reason we are doing this, the illegal immigration, the ICE raids, and sending them back, is so you, the young people, will have the opportunity to have the jobs, to earn the money, to start a family, or do what you need to do, want to do, should be doing. This cat really is a clear thinker, as the shirt he's wearing says.
Mamdani knows how to talk to young, moderate, and liberal women. Trump terrifies them.
What are you talking about when you say Democrats want to protect their health care?
So when an illegal person comes in, a person who came into our country illegally, therefore breaking the law, and look, we all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than you do.
The way many right-wing men talk terrifies them. Tuesday proved it. Mamdani won in New York City with 84% of women aged 18 to 29, 65% of women aged 30 to 44. The Democrats took Virginia and New Jersey and Prop 50 passed in California. This is a preview of the 2026 midterm elections. The right can learn this lesson voluntarily now or involuntarily later.
He's 100% right. Mamdani said, oh, I'll give you health care free. Trump is right, but then he said, and again, if Trump would temper his dealers saying, hey, this, you want affordable health care? You want grocery prices to come down? Not saying there won't be some glitches in the system. It's not that grocery prices come down. You follow the policies of the free market. Quit saying capitalism. The free market. that will resonate. And this was what this guy's talking about. This is what scares young women especially. Capitalism, oh, that's those evil. That's those evil Wall Street, or now that they're good, that's the evil Jewish banking coalition, or whatever conspiracy theory they're coming up with at the time to make a boogeyman to sell you down the river. If Trump would replace capitalism or that, we're going to give you the free market. We're going to make your earnings outpace the cost of goods and services. What that does is increase your wealth. That will increase your longevity here on earth. That will give you the ability to make the choices to live the life you want to live, not what somebody else dictates to you. Do you want to be dictated to what grocery store, what car you can or cannot drive, where you can or can't live, regardless of how hard you work or how little you work or anything in between? If you want that, then it's Mamdani didn't sell it that way. He said, I'm going to take over the grocery stores and give you free. Well, let's see how that worked out in Venezuela. One of the richest countries in the world blew all the money when Chavez and them guys said, oh, we're going to give you everything free. All the oil money's going to pay for it. More from the clear thinker. Here we go.
And if you're a moderate woman, what message does all of that send? I live in LA. I have liberal friends. Politics comes up the moment I show someone my Instagram. I'm constantly talking about politics to people who disagree with me. And it's pretty hard to have a discussion about policy with this kind of presentation. The Republican Party has a serious messaging problem. And that problem doesn't go away by dismissing young people who vote for Democrats.
Quit saying we lost because of voter fraud, which in some cases we may have. We didn't lose Prop 50 because of voter fraud, not 2-1. Now, voter fraud can't, in a close election, yes, I will be in perfect agreement, and it goes on, and we need to flush it out. We cannot flush it out till we get 50% plus one in the elected offices. And you got to do it with a message that's going to resonate. And you need to put actions behind it. Trump, I believe, got off track going on all these foreign policy stuff. It killed Dick Nixon. Everybody killed H.W. Bush. Every president that's really tried to meddle deep in the foreign policy stuff is wound up killing their presidency. Sometimes he didn't even get elected a second time. Some of them did, but their second term in office, they were fighting this. And that's why people vote for the Democrat. They voted for Trump because they said, things ain't going right. Well, Trump's in there and the Republicans and things ain't going right, so let's go back to the Democrats. They're not Democrats and Republicans. They're not even MAGA or not in most cases, in a lot of cases. They're just pissed off because they see their future going away. And they don't care who's going to fix it. And especially younger people, they don't have the experience, and I'm not disparaging them, or the knowledge as much to know how to fix it. And they've been taught everybody's evil. They haven't been taught the free market, how things work, how you increase your wealth. They haven't been taught, if your wages go up 5%, but your expenses go up 10%, you went in the whole 5%, you lost purchasing power. It's not how much money you make, it's what your money or your wealth will buy. When John Kennedy was president and a quarter was worth 90 or made of 90% silver, and the minimum wage was $1.25. Those 5 quarters, if you have them today, are worth about $50 in silver. So if you take the equivalent of that, even if you're 15 or up to 20, they're trying to make it in, or $10 an hour. In 60 years, minimum wage earner is earning 5 times less than they did in 1963 when we booted the silver out of the quarter.
Trump won decisively in 2024, but it's not because Americans are MAGA. Many of them were just tired of the Democrats. And if they don't see the cost of living go down while the political temperature goes up, they'll get tired of Trump too. And MAGA will end in the midterms. So what's the solution? Some say the left just lies and these women just believe it, as if the only options are truth or lies. But that's a false dichotomy. You can be truthful and graceful. You can tell the truth and not dismiss those who disagree. You can tell the truth and lower the temperature.
And this proves it. Okay, you got Gavin Newsom running 180 degrees opposite of Donald Trump, and they're both hated. How could that be? If let's say a majority of people now agree with Gavin Newsom's communistic philosophy and ruin the United States like he's done California. Then he should be like at the height of his popularity. His approval ratings are as low as they've ever, below 50% in California. And they have never been that until the last year. Because people see it, most people are in a state of chaos in California. They can't afford this. They're going backwards. They know we're in a world of hurt. And this guy's exactly right. They're not looking at, the MAGA folks or the center right or the Trump supporters or the Republicans versus the Democrats and the Black Lives Matters and, whomever. Because Democratic Socialists of America, Bernie Sanders, AOC, whatever. They're like the black ants and the red ants in the jar, and they just know somebody's shaking the hell out of it and they want it to stop.
What we say matters, and how we say it matters too. The midterms are coming. Young women will decide them, just like they decided last Tuesday. So MAGA has a choice to make. Are you going to talk to them or talk past them? Now, this is only part of why Zoran won. Charlie Kirk actually nailed the bigger reason. And if MAGA doesn't learn from it, there will be many more Mamdanis to come. I break down his full analysis in my latest video essay.
Not saying, there's been a lot of speculation about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And again, there's another thing. Nothing makes any sense. But as the guy said, Charlie had it figured out what was resonating with the younger folks to make their lives better, and knowing how to present it and how to talk to them. Talk to them, not at them. And I'm not one, Trump's 10 gazillion times more successful, knowledgeable, talented than I will ever be. But at times, Trump, like with that answer, talks at people instead of talking to them. That's kind of an old school New York attitude. Again, he's a product of the environment he was raised in. But it's definitely one that we really need to sharpen the message on. If you're center right freedom and liberty types, you can't, if you complain about everything is voter fraud and we lost because an excuse, instead of diagnosing the problem. And figuring out why you lost and coming back and not repeating that mistake of the past, then you have a chance to really become what he's telling you. If you really want MAGA to succeed, you need to do this. JD Vance does a little bit of it. He's probably a little smoother in his approach than Trump is. And I'm not saying we didn't have to have Trump or we didn't have to have Trump now to get us to this point. And I hope with the deal, I hope Trump refocuses on the young people are telling them, we want America first. We want our states first. We want our cities and towns first. We want you, as you promised, you were going to put us first. If you get back on that message, you can buck the trend. We can actually pick up seats in the House and the Senate. We can actually start turning maybe some of the purple states, like we had an opportunity in Virginia and New Jersey, start turning the tide in the Californias and New Yorks and Illinois, and build a coalition that will govern for, by the people for generations. And the vast majority, if not everyone, will be much better off if we do that. It's some of the local genre, which is this Friday. We get to the most of Thursday stuff, which is always chaotic. Big Rialto drug bust out there. Good job for the Rialto cops. Big narco bust in conjunction with Borders Group, Inland Valley SWAT, Internal Revenue Service, County of Riverside. They actually went into County of Riverside to do that with that. So it was a big team effort. This is what people want to see. Is you making their communities work. No, I don't know what the hell this is going. Why is the camera flashing again? Hot Hemet shooting. Eddie George's Action Eye News had the story on that. Big guns in Moreno Valley PD, conducting a high visibility patrol in the area of Hemlock and Graham, conducted a vehicle check, and guess what they found? Holy cow. Purdue cops, hard on the mail theft detail. They arrested 2 suspects accused of busting into mailboxes. Sad story in Harupa Valley. 17-year-old shot dead in Harupa Valley. Very light statement on that. Male juvenile transported where he was dead. There was a wild foot and car pursuit in Harupa Valley. Moval after-school employee accused of inappropriate contact with 4 students. I really wish we wouldn't have to do these stories, but we must. Gavin's California. We all know that. And if you don't want the rest of the country to become an asshole, then we got to get much sharper on this stuff at what's going on. If you give a clear and concise message, it'll all work out. You'll win a majority of the time. Don't get sidetracked in all this or that. Bullet points on message, then produce. That's what people want to see on this Faster Than You Friday and beyond. Have some fun. Race out of Paris Auto Speedway, the finals of that. Take it away, Sean.
All right, Roy, have a good weekend.
You got it. Why are we getting the fucking hammer?